So, print along. Thanks for joining us. This evening, we're in for a bit of a treat. We are joined by Ben Tarjay. Ben, who's in the bottom corner. Uh,
It's me. I'm
thank
the tiny guy in the bottom of your corner. That sounds unnecessarily sexual. I'm so sorry. Apologies to put that out there at the top of the show. I'm utterly delighted to join you. I love your work. Shall I call you James or Mr. Potato Printer, or do you go by
what we
something else?
feel most comfortable with.
All right, Mr.
Yeah,
Potatoes.
Mr. Potatoes. Yeah, yeah,
Love it.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, what are we making today?
Well, we are making potato printed rainbows on something called Funting, aren't
That's
we?
right. Funting.
Ben, what I'm going to do is going to give you the main camera, and you can tell everyone back home about Funting. What is it?
Well, first of all, please don't judge me on my book selection. This is not everything I've read in life. I have read outside just Patti Smith, but she is great. Anyway, on to Funting. Funting is a portmanteau that I've come up with. It is the collision of the word fun, because that's exactly what we're about here, and bunting. You will have known bunting from, bunting is the universal signifier of an unwanted village fate. You can bunt almost anything in life. The word bunting is actually ancient English for holding hands. So if you ever go on a date and you come back home and your flatmate says to you, "Did you bunt tonight?" Well, in these times, it would be wrong to say yes. But after we get out of this, you can say you bunted if you held someone's hand. Here are just a few examples I'd like to run you through of things that I have personally made into bunting. First up, I have bunted my flatmate's shoes together. I have bunted my flatmate's tea bags together.
That's a beautiful thing.
I have made some dangerous bunting.
Oh,
Today we're going to be making bunting, and Mr. Potatoes is going to teach us how to print rainbows onto that bunting. So what you can do is grab any old piece of card or paper knocking around your house, bank statements maybe. Just make sure you censor any important information. You can draw this outline on your piece of paper and card. And if you then use a pair of scissors very safely, cutting along these lines will give you several triangles. This is what we're going to be printing onto. If, like me, you want to jazz those triangles up a little bit, you can draw a lovely border along using any old felt tip that you might have been able to have stolen from your flatmate during the day. That's all I have to say on bunting. Over to you, Mr. Potatoes.
thank you, Ben. That was a really comprehensive overview there on bunting. I liked the highlights that you put around the edge of the bunting you're going to be using today. Very
Thanks very
striking.
much. That's why we call it bunting.
Great. So what I'm going to be covering now is obviously the carving of the potato. Ben, what's your potato like today?
Well, James, I've gone out of my way to not use potatoes. I'm going to be
A bit.
using something else. I'm going to be using an onion. And this is because we're printing rainbows, and I figured out that if you cut an onion in half, you more or less get a rainbow outline. So if you're using potatoes, I don't want to say that you're wrong. You're just not right.
Always 2 steps
Anyway,
ahead. Aren't
let's
you?
find out what happens and what we need to do to stay safe whilst using potatoes.
Well, first, of course, as each week at the top, be careful with knives. You know, go slowly if you're not comfortable using big knives. If you're using a big knife, again, each week I go through a number of near misses. I hope not to do one today live on camera. This is the potato I'm using, and obviously we want to be looking to kind of like, you know, have that kind of shape. So I'm going to cut it down this side here. Okay, so you want a good surface area. Okay.
Really safe technique there.
But yeah, very slow, firm, but solid. You've got to be confident with the knife. So this is that's the kind of shape that we want to be looking at. I'm always getting the angles wrong on the camera. Here we go.
It's like a squat sun.
Yeah. What? Sorry, then.
A squat sun. S-U-N, not S-O-N. In case you were thinking about offspring.
I wasn't, but now I am, and now I'm terrified.
Sorry for putting those images in your head. Now, what do we do next?
So what we're now looking to do is basically we want to be cutting out each layer of the rainbow. So obviously, some people's potatoes aren't going to be the size of the template that I handed out, as is this one. So I'm going to slightly scale this down. So first of all, we need to basically create like a little hole at the bottom here. So what I'm going to do is just going to very slowly just eke this bit out here. Like so. Let's see if that goes. There we go. Yeah. So I don't know if you can see that, but there we go. Yeah.
Oh, very nice. It's like a little horseshoe.
Like like an oversized horseshoe is exactly it then. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically create a shape around that hole that we've got there. So this is going to be the first kind of like ring on the rainbow. So just going to move that around. It's quite fiddly, but you'll eventually see what we're going to be getting at here. Obviously, Ben is many steps ahead because he chose an onion.
Am I supposed to feel as anxious as I do every time I see you using a knife so close to your face?
I mean, it's actually quite far away from my face, actually. But yeah.
Weirdly, that hasn't made me feel any better.
I mean, just don't set any off of your dangerous bunting. You know, any short shocks or surprises, and then I'm a goner, and then you know you're free to take over the potato printing empire. Then.
Okay, let's make sure that doesn't happen. I really am not very strong at admin, and running an empire of any sort, irrelevant of the vegetable, would just not be my strong suit.
So this is, I'll just pop this on this camera there. I don't know if you can see that one. So yeah, we've got like a very small U shape. There we go. Yeah. So hopefully you can see that there. Now we're wanting to create the second ring. So let's go around that again. Great. And so that one's there as well. So hopefully. There you go. Now you'll see if you layer them up like that, this is basically, this kind of process is what we want to follow. So just basically putting more and more layers on top of this. What are you up to there, Ben?
Well, I was just going to make some examples for anyone who's using an onion.
Oh.
What you should have now is several onion layers. And you don't need to do any fiddly carving. All you need to do is chop an onion in half. That's it.
And it's perfect every time as well, isn't it? You know?
Oh, perfect. Yeah. I'm not saying you're not perfect. I'm just saying that you're fine.
I'm fine. I'm just not efficient. It's just not efficient.
That's good enough. Being fine is good enough these days. In fact, it's better than okay.
Yeah.
What colors are we going to be printing this rainbow in?
Well, you know, I mean, I don't want to dictate what people, you know, do with their rainbows, but I'm a bit of a traditionalist when it comes to rainbow painting. Well, I mean, you know, I've got the standard, you know, red, yellow, blue, can make all the colors.
Yeah.
What about you, Ben? Are you going for something a little?
Yeah, I think I'll do a traditional rainbow, Richard of York gave battle in vain. You know, run myself through the rhyme. Do you have a favorite color? If you had to select one color from the rainbow, which color do you think you'd go with? If you had to dress in that color for the rest of your life, exclusively.
I mean, I think a really kind of orange. Actually, I think orange.
Good choice. The color of hope and success. I'm just making that up, but I'm happy to make it official. It is the color of hope and success. I think I'd choose pink. Is pink even in a rainbow? That's not in a rainbow. That's outside a rainbow.
No.
Sorry. All right. Well, I'm going to go for indigo because it feels like the color I've never dressed in ever. But then if I dress in it and I didn't like it, I'd be kind of
stuck with it for a long time.
Where are we now with this potato? How are we looking?
So we're now. This is where I'm up to. So just to see if I can show people. So I've now created lots of different layers, which just basically sit on each other, like so. So I've got a few there. Probably just need to have one more.
They sit on each other like friends playing Twister at a house party.
Oh, nice analogy.
Gently, but also slightly twisted. Like all the best things in life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't imagine many, you know, all games of twist. I mean, that's a big. Oh dear, broken.
How long have you been potato printing for? When did this? I think it's fair to say fetish begin.
This started in 2016, I think. Yeah.
So 4 years strong. That's impressive.
Yeah. But I'd probably say in the last 2 years that it really kind of, you know, got out of hand.
And by that you mean you've outsourced the work, or you mean that it's just beyond a hobby?
I'd say both. Well, I've not outsourced it yet. That'd be a dream. But I think more kind of regular more regular in producing artworks and you know, merchandise and all that jazz. Really, I'd say probably taking it more seriously than anything else.
Your artwork's so beautiful. I've seen so much of it on Instagram, but you mentioned the word merchandise there, which is always sort of a bit of
Dirty.
a dirty word, isn't it? But I know that your merchandise is deliciously ethical. You haven't yet outsourced your production to small children, but I imagine outsourcing your production to small children is probably a good bet because they have smaller hands, which means they can do more intricate designs.
There's more intricate designs. I mean, this is essentially what these kind of like print alongs are all about, really. It's me trying to source some really good workers for later on down
Yeah,
the line. You know,
it's you trying to make a network of small-handed people.
small-handed people that can successfully create lots of rainbows on demand. That's what we want.
On-demand rainbows. That sounds like a Radiohead B-sides album. Is there a piece of work that you've made over the last 4 years that you're particularly proud of?
I think the last calendar I did, I really enjoyed. And that was the potatoes calendar, and that was just basically, yeah, 12 really stupid looking animals with the stupid captions. That was really fun. But what started it all was obviously like the Dictatos, which was Idi Amin's personal calendar, and that was just so kind of divisive. People either loved it or hated it. But yeah, given where we are now politically, I've just got absolutely no desire to kind of like alienate more people than what I need to. But yeah,
So you're saying the animals were less divisive than dictators,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
surprising.
yeah.
Um,
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
you're
So
doing a current series at the moment that's astounding, which is uh, teeth. Just
yes,
teeth. Where did
just
that
so
idea come from?
so I was I was just feeling a bit down. The lockdown had just started, and um, I just wanted to find some comfort from somewhere. And I started thinking about my dad, and all the kind of like people that he like really enjoyed watching. And Wogan was one of them. So I potato printed Wogan's dentures. I don't know why dentures came to mind, but it just felt like the right thing. And then I thought, and when I did it, it did feel a little bit of release, like nothing too cathartic, but I was like, oh yeah, I feel a bit better now. And I just put out, does anybody want a set of dentures in the post for free? And
That's amazing.
yeah, and
What an incredible service you're providing. And and for some reason, it's like after 4 years, you've created all these beautiful pieces, but the potato really lends itself to teeth.
to
They're
teeth.
so the palettes that you've made are so satisfying. They're very sort of gloopy and chompy, and the shapes are
Yeah,
simple, but collectively they're beautiful.
thank you. That's very kind. That's very kind. I mean, if no one's familiar, for those that have joined us tonight, Ben is what I would call like an avant-garde prop comic. Uh, yeah, I first saw Ben perform years ago now. That must be going about 7 years ago. And
In a basement in King's Cross, and I
yeah,
swear it was clean as
yeah,
far as
yeah.
basements go.
And you spent a good amount of that show just firing ping pong balls at the audience until
Until they submit. That's the
yeah,
key.
that's
You
the
want a
key.
docile audience, and if it means firing projectiles at people's faces, then that's a well. I mean, we've proved it. It works.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll be honest with you, Ben. I've messed up a few times here on making the last ring of the rainbow, but I think I'm
Not a
just about.
problem. I
Uh,
forgive you, and I'm sure
I'm sure. I'm sure
you can choose a color that doesn't get to be part of it later on.
so hopefully you can see what we're aiming for there. So we've got 6 or 7 layers of what will be rainbow. Ben's got a perfectly cut onion, which he's going to douse in paint. So this is the kind of like, I'm not going to go through now the printing element. I've just put my fingers in a big pile of paint.
What paint? Well, why don't you just lick them clean, and we'll get through the colors that we're going to mix here.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to put some. Hopefully, you can see on my other camera here. I'm going to switch to the other camera just so you can see a little clearer.
When it comes to mixing colors, are there 3 colors that we can turn to for everything at all times? And if so,
right.
what would those colors be?
We're going to need red, yellow, and blue. What have you got there, Ben? Have you got them all?
I've got red, yellow, and blue, and I'm excited to find out what happens when they get to dance together.
So I'm just going to stick 3 blobs down here.
I really like the sound of paint coming out of the tube.
It's satisfying, isn't it?
It sounds like a mixture of some sort of guttural mechanic and squeezing ketchup onto chips. I think I just sprayed paint on my wall.
Really?
Yeah. But hey, yellow's a nice color to have on your wall.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the color of hope and success.
So we are gonna make a. So I'm gonna start with from the inside here of the rainbow. So we're gonna start with the purple. So I'm just gonna get a bit of blue on here, and then dip that in the red and start try and get a nice purple going.
Oh, that's lovely. Can you get different shades of purple by adding, say, more red or more blue to it?
You can.
What ratio should we be working with here?
Oh, I mean, it all comes down to personal preference, really. But I've gone for quite a deep purple here. So what I'm going to
like the band, kind of heavy and a little bit like trashy.
So I've printed that one down, and then I'm just going to delicately. Obviously we're going to be using these later, and I'm going to show you another technique once we've got this first one down. So let's pop that one down to there, and then we're going to need just a regular blue. So I'm going to pop this next layer on.
How many layers of potato should we have in total?
6 or 7. It depends on the size of your potato, really. I think I've got 6 here. So I'm missing out on. Yeah, so I've got like I'm missing out on like a lighter blue, but I can do that. So pop that one down there.
I can always lend you a sheath of onion if you like.
I mean, you're already kind of like marketing it, aren't you? As like almost like a ready-made kit that you can sell in the post. Can people purchase sheaths individually?
Yeah, when we go into business, that's exactly how we'll do it. You'll get the magazine for free and one piece, but by the time you need to buy the last piece, it will be about £300.
Oh, yeah.
It really messes with any completists out there.
Yeah, yeah. So
what kind of levels of pressure should we be applying when we print?
It depends. I mean, what I've done here, I mean, the potato is quite delicate, firm, but not enough to break. So I always just place the potato down quite lightly, and then if I need to reapply it, you can. So I made the green there.
And how do you make green? Which colors do we mix for green?
Yellow and blue.
Yellow and blue, very nice.
Yellow and blue. And now putting in a yellow.
So run me through the sequence. You've gone purple.
Purple, blue, green, yellow.
Purple, blue, green, yellow. Love it.
Oh dear, that's not great.
What's happened?
I have muddied my my yellow sheath.
That's definitely the most sexual thing that either of us have said in the last half an hour.
I apologize in advance.
No, I think we're close to the watershed, so it's probably forgivable.
Yeah. And now going for an orange, so a bit of red and
How
yellow.
do we make orange?
Red and yellow.
Red and yellow. Color of the kings and queens. My rainbow's looking a little bit schizophrenic. It's kind of developed multiple personalities.
Okay, and then we've just got to add on the red layer. So what are you working on at the moment, Ben? What's happening? What's happening with you?
What am I working on? That's a good question. Well, tonight I'm doing Mark Watson's 24-hour comedy show. I'm going to be on at 5 a.m. doing a segment called Fox Watch, where I try to find and interview the foxes that live in my neighborhood and keep waking me up at 5 a.m. every day, but don't stick around for a chat. So you're absolutely welcome to join myself and many, many other comedians. All of the money we're raising for this is going to 3 separate charities. One is supporting NHS workers. One is supporting people who are struggling to get food. And one is supporting comedians who've had their industry obliterated overnight.
I bet. And obviously you're one of those as well. I mean, how's the shift from like live comedy to online like changed things for you?
I found it quite strange because I fell in love with performing live a long time ago, and it's something that I've pursued over and above opportunities to work in other mediums in the past. And I think having to basically now live and work in my room more or less has made me miss performing live. But it's also, I found that I still yearn to be creative, and I can be creative in other ways. And so I'm discovering new things about myself, like how amazing I am at potato printing.
Onion printing.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's be precise,
Sorry.
Ben. Yeah.
How have you found it? You mentioned earlier that you're doing a lot of illustrating work, but it does mean that you're confined to a room for 15 hours a day.
Yeah, exactly. Once you like, obviously have a day job, and then on top of that, you're doing other bits and pieces outside of that, such as like the illustration, the potato printing. So yeah, like where you'd normally be moving about, you're basically just stuck in a room all day, and so yeah, it's just kind of it's hard, but it's no hardship if you think about how others are having to deal with it. But and the flip side is obviously this though. I've really enjoyed doing these weekly sessions, and hopefully hopefully people have enjoyed it. But yeah, it's
I think people do. They're really wonderful sessions. I'm so glad that you do them. And I also love that you've chosen to do them on Friday evening when some people might be, just waiting to crack open their six pack and get wrecked on the couch. If they join you, at least they
yeah,
can feel proud
yeah,
while
yeah, exactly.
getting wrecked.
Yeah, and they'll have something at the end of it as well.
They'll wake up to something strange but beautiful, which are the two best things in life.
yeah, yeah.
Something that evokes curiosity and something that nourishes the soul. You know what? That potato looks good enough to eat. If
It
someone
does.
served me rainbow potatoes, I'd order I'd be over the moon.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Greg Wallace would be all over this, wouldn't he? He'd
You would.
be celebrating. So you can see, hopefully by now you'll have printed your first rainbow. Obviously, once you've printed them, that you should be able to get another print out of the paint, that the residual paint from that from the potato. So you'll see here, I basically, if I try and put these in front of the camera, yeah. So you'll see I've laid them all up, and now I'm just basically going to print all in one go with all these 7 layers at once. And you should see, hopefully, a really nice finish. And this is probably just a bit of a quicker way to print. And there you go. Ben, how's your rainbow looking?
It's looking delightful. I have made the error of rushing ahead and second guessing what's going to happen, and I've printed each layer as an individual layer rather
Yeah.
than going for the Royal Rumble, which you've
Yeah.
gone for.
Yeah.
But I'm not appalled by the results.
Well, that's the main thing. So, like, obviously now, like, oh, beautiful. That's really good.
I've done 4.
An onion, that looks really cool.
Thanks.
I really like.
They're kind of like chemical-laden pizza slices,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
a jazz sunset.
So how do we string them together, Ben? How do we get those things together?
That is a really good question. Thanks for asking it. First thing you want to do is go into the bathroom and steal your flatmate's dental floss. This is what I've done. The second thing you want to do is using your knife very, very, very carefully on a cutting mat. You can either score an X in the top corners, or you can push a hole through, and then you can take your dental floss and put a section of dental floss through each hole. And if you need to know how to tie a knot, you can watch Muriel's Wedding or 4 Weddings and a Funeral, or any other film that teaches you about commitment. Or there may even be some knot tying tutorials on YouTube. Does
Lovely.
that sound?
That's sound advice, Ben. That's sound advice. I mean, yeah. I've not done a very good job in cutting out my bunting, my funting. It's it's a horror. It's a bit of a horror show, to be honest with you. But
I think you've done a great job.
I think I've
And
done it under the pressure.
I'm going to give you a round of applause, but because it's just me doing it, I'm going to preface it by saying this is not sarcastic. It is a round of applause laced with gratitude.
Thank you, Ben.
I do have a question, a pertinent question, which is, how do I get out of my room now without getting paint everywhere?
I mean, on the list I supplied, I did put a cloth down on the. Do you have a cloth? Or maybe
I do,
you know, any magazines
but I think
behind.
I've put it somewhere in my room which is hard to reach without me getting paint.
Yeah, difficult. Could you? Do you live with anyone? Could you shout for anyone?
No, my
Help?
flatmates left, which is why I was able to steal all their stuff. So I guess I'm just going to wait here until the paint dries.
Yeah, yeah. Won't take long. Acrylic, half an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's important to say that because this is rainbow themed funting, people can use this to hang up in their house and not only make them feel good about the metaphorical rain that is pissing down on all of our heads. Remember that there's something beautiful on the other side of a shower. You can hang it up to remind yourself to continue to be grateful for and support our incredible NHS workers. And guess what? When June swings around, you'll be ahead of the curve and you'll have your pride flag up in the house.
Very
We've thought
true.
this, guys, multiple uses.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing wasted. Nothing wasted.
Nothing wasted, everything gained. So,
On that note, I think
what are
I
you
think
gonna?
Ben,
Where can
I think.
people find you in future, and what are you going to be doing next week?
So next week, I am. I don't know what I'm going to be potato printing yet. I'm doing it with another comedian, Paul Dance, who.
Very funny.
Yeah, very funny man. Very funny. He's living in Thailand now, so he's going to be doing it when it's 2 a.m. in the morning, which is going to be interesting. But that'll be this time next week. What about you, Ben? Where can people check out your work?
Well, I've written out my. If people enjoy my interruptions and my comedy stylings, you're welcome to visit my coffee page and chuck me some coin, which will be used to fuel all of my creative adventures. Or you can join me on Twitter at Ben Target, spelled Target, which is not one long word. It's just two words smushed together, which is Ben Target on Twitter. I'm going to be making some great work over the coming weeks, and you're welcome to join in. I think that's all I have to say, really.
Lovely.
Apart from, thanks for having me, and thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure, and I think it's been really fun. I hope those that have joined us tonight have enjoyed it. Like each week, send me some pictures of what you've created. It's always great to see them, and do check out Ben's show that he's promoting on Twitter. It is an absolute joy and great lockdown viewing. So
Thank you.
until next week, thank you to Ben, and have a great weekend, all. Toodaloo.
Bye-bye.